Hey everybody, it is Sanctuary Sunday, but in truth, it's what is today? Today is Tuesday. It's Tuesday, and I'm recording this Tuesday night uh, here in Mexico. It's raining, and I was talking to my partner earlier, and I was mentioning that I said, I think Sanctuary Sunday is going to be about listening. And right now, this evening, as I was watching a movie, Netflix, and the rain started out of the blue, like it's been hot. Um, and I couldn't help but listen to it. It didn't ask that I hear it. It demanded that I hear it and that I listen to it. It came like woo, like intense. And I'm reminded and I'm standing in the vibration of appreciating listening and what listening can do for us as an individual, as a listener, and what it does for the person who's being listened to. Too often in life, it's like, hear that? Did you hear that? Too often in life, it's like, no one's being heard. No one's being heard because the attention span of people is short. And not only that, not only is the attention span short, but I think, so many people aren't being heard that anytime an ear is open to them, they just keep going because they've not been listened to before. And I think, we have to be mindful of that. We have to be mindful to pass the mic. You know, I often say that in conversations, like before we start this conversation, we're going to play this game of being aware to pass the mic. That way there's not one person monopolizing the entire conversation, be it one on one or in a group or what have you, because we all want to be heard, and we all need to be heard, and we all deserve an authentic listening ear. Someone who doesn't have an agenda, someone who has slowed down and who has consciously made the decision to be here now for you. Like, I'm not going to interrupt you. I'm not going to talk over you. I'm not going to listen for my opportunity to tell my story. But I really want to dedicate my ear to you and give you this opportunity to fully express that which needs to be expressed. How was your day? And not just, oh, fine. Because, for me, I find that a lot of times that's just my response to people. Oh, I'm good. I mean, I am good. Gratitude for being good, but there's more to me than just being good. There's more to my day than it just flowing. I'm glad that it's flowing. Whoa, right? Because we want to flow. But there are layers inside of flow. But I find that a lot of people are not available to hearing the detail behind the flow. They're not available to fully be in the present with the response. So, why are we asking how a person is doing if we're not dedicated to listening? I've even had times where a person will say, hey, so how are you? And I would ask them, do you really want to know? Or are you just sort of giving me the stock, hey, how are you? And it sort of catches them off guard. They're like, whoa, yeah. Because if you really want to know, that means you're going to listen to what I say. You're going to ask me about it. You're going to, delve deeper into that so that we can really engage and you'll learn who I am. Or you just basically like, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm good. Okay. And you keep it pushing. Which one is it? Who are we in our days? How are we relating to other people? How are we engaging? How are we interacting? What are we opening ourselves up to, for, with, being inside of life? Because listening, it's a skill and it's an art. You have to be conscious of it. You have to sort of sit on your hands, right? Imagine you have something to say, but you have to sit on your hands. You have to resist the urge to chime in. Resist the urge to make their story your story because they said something to you that reminded you of your own experience. But it's not about you in this moment. Allow a person to exhaust where they're going, and when they're done, then they'll ask you about you. Because you've allowed them the full expression of their reality. And you're going to get to know them. You're going to get to know them better. They're going to appreciate you. They're going to remember that you actually listened. Wow. I feel like I have few people in my life because few people listen. And I really don't have time to stay on the surface. You know what I mean? I'm often shocked or surprised when a person listens without interrupting or without making it about them. I'm like, whoa, did you really just listen? Thank you for that. Because I feel like I'm a good listener. I feel like I give people the room and space to express themselves. One, because I know that oftentimes we're not able to express ourselves because someone's always chiming in, turning it around, making it about themselves, and now they're sharing their story. And it's like, didn't you just ask me how I'm doing? And somehow it's about you now? Okay, so I know that. And I just know how good it feels to actually be heard because it means that a person is interested in the way of the path, the way of your path, what's happening with you. So listening is something that I value. And it's so sad that it's not something that's common. People don't listen. They're preoccupied, they're calculating, they're thinking about what they're thinking about, they're somewhere else. But then they wonder why they don't know you. They wonder why you're not aligned. They wonder what has happened. Well, if we're not listening to each other, then there's nowhere to go. And so I like to listen to people because we all need to be heard. And I think that one of the motivating factors for me in listening to others is hoping it comes back around to me. Hoping one day someone pays it forward and listens to what I have to say. Because otherwise, my journal is the best listening ear ever. My journal never interrupts me. Never. I can write daily, all day, anything. My journal never interrupts me, never chimes in, never turns it around, makes it about itself, And so when we encounter that, when we give ourselves in that way, it's a beautiful gift to give someone your ear. Because when you're listening, you don't have to have the answers. You don't have to them to death, and you don't have to feel like you have to say something. Just listen. Because listening is the balm, BALM. It is the healing ingredient. It is the thing that solves the problem. It is the thing that leads to the resolve. Well, so-and-so just died, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Let them express. Listen silently. You don't even have to let them know you're still listening. Just listen in silence so that they can be where they are and go where they're going. That's a gift. The ear is a gift. It's when you can listen truly, truly, truly so, that's unconditional. That's compassion. That's love. That's saying you are important and what you're saying is important to me. And I want to listen because I want to understand you fully. I want to understand you fully, and I don't want to stop you anywhere. I don't want to make this about me. I want to know where you're going with what you're saying. Because I know you're going to do the same thing for me. We get what we give. And life is about balance. It's about mutuality. It's about reciprocity. It's about maintaining the connection and the vibration and the alignment with the universe, the alignment with the person with whom you are speaking, the connection there. If someone has carved an opening and they're sharing themselves with you, you have one responsibility, one thing only. Just listen. Just listen, because a lot of times people jump off of buildings and they do a lot of things because they're not being heard. They're not being listened to. They don't feel that there's some connection to themselves and someone else. And a lot of times people don't listen because they're afraid of what they're going to hear. Well, I don't know what to do with that information. You don't have to do anything with the information, but thank the person for sharing it, for trusting you with whatever, be it the rises or the falls, the good or the bad, the challenges and the flow. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Be in celebration, like celebrate the person sharing and love them enough to listen quietly. Even in the pauses, I often talk slowly, probably not on Sanctuary Sunday, but I speak slowly because I like to hear what the heck I'm saying. And, a lot of times, people would jump in. It's like people are waiting for those pauses. Stop waiting for the pauses. Allow the pause, the room and space, because we need to think about what we're saying. We need to, if we're sharing something intense or painful, we take moments to be with that. And we need those who are listening to also take moments to be in that pause and not try to jump in and fill the empty space with a I'm listening, or yeah, that happened to me and I know how you feel. Dispense with I know how you feel. No, you don't. You never do. We all feel differently. It may be similar, but it's not the same. So you don't even have to say I know how you feel. Just sort of cross that off your list of things that you will ever say ever again, because you don't. I don't. You can't. You're not inside that person. My father has died, right? He died in 2003. Now, this other person's father could have died, but I can't tell them I know how they feel. They can't say that to me. We didn't have identical relationships with our fathers. You don't know what my grief is like. I don't know what yours is like. All you can say is, see, sometimes that's all you can say is just like, I'm here if you want to talk. I'm here if you want to talk. You don't have to say, oh, my father died too. I know it. No, that's not listening. That's making it about you. And it's not about you. It's not about me, right? So it's like being with the other person. Listening means you are willing to be with the other person until they are finished. And how do you know when they're finished? You'll know because they will feel complete around it and they will thank you for listening. And when they're done, it's still not an opportunity for you to go, now it's my turn. No, be authentic. Be in the compassionate space of listening. Let them ask you now. So what's going on with you? When a person is complete and they fully feel heard, then they're now available to you. And you can get back what you gave. And sometimes you might not even have anything to share, and you might just say, oh, I'm good. But thank you for sharing, and wow, and you could still talk more about what they were going through or what they shared. But it's important to listen to people. It's like valuing time. You got to value another person's time. You have to value the intimate details that they share. You have to set yourself aside and stand in the space with another person and be available to them. So, on this evening of rain, which will be Sanctuary Sunday later this week, I just want to press upon us all to be more mindful of listening, to be more present for other people when they're speaking, to sit on our hands and not feel like we have to chime in or our way through the conversation, but to just open our hearts, open our ears, open our spirits to just, be inside of that for them. Because we all want to be heard. We all deserve to be heard, and that requires someone listening. So if you listen, you pave the way and you open the door for someone else to listen. And then inside of life, it just becomes this domino effect of listening, right? At least in your circle, in your tribe. And it's so great that I get to end this Sanctuary Sunday video the way that I started. The rain has come back, right? I'm listening to it. And being with life's magic. Being with life's magic. Let's celebrate ourselves. This thing called life that we're all inside of. May we live it fully, freely, abundantly, vastly, brilliantly, beautifully. Dancing in the rain of the magic, may it pour down on us like prosperity breathing. Thank you for listening to me and not interrupting because you can't. Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate this time, this moment, these opportunities, all this. The thunder. Gratitude. Thank you guys again. Happy Sanctuary Sunday. May all your days be filled with magic, filled with love, filled with listening ears. And may you be a listening ear to others. Have a good one.